Hello, beautiful people. Hello, lovely people on Instagram. How are you? Hello, lovely people on Facebook. Yes, I'm live. Yay. How are you this wonderful Monday morning? It's incredible to see you. And welcome to Rise Up and Shine, my regular Monday morning show that I come on and talk about things that are going to provide you with motivation, inspiration, and encouragement for your week ahead and for this wonderful Monday, because sometimes we find Mondays is a bit of a struggle, don't we? So I'm here to help with that. So hey everyone, how are you? My name's Ali Sugars and I am also known as the Motivation Mama. Now, today we have a really interesting topic. It's got a swear word in it, yes. And the topic is how to keep going when you feel like shit. Right? Now, I chose to talk on this particular topic today because this is a question, or it's a statement that I have had a lot of people say to me lately. And the question that goes with it is, well, I feel like crap. How do I get out of it, Ali? So I wanted to come and talk on this topic today. You know, why we feel like the way we do, and actually what we tend to do, and then how we can come out of that, how we can bring ourselves out of that feeling, because no one deserves to stay in that feeling. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that a bit this morning. So, all right, so again, welcome to everyone on Facebook, welcome to everyone on Instagram. So I know that, you know, and I know firsthand, basically, that when we absolutely feel like shit, and I'm going to try not to swear too much today. Hello, Lisa. Hello, beautiful lady. Watching on Instagram there, I see you. When we feel this way, right, we tend to sweep the stress and the anxiety that goes with this feeling. We tend to just sweep it under the rug, right? And this is not healthy, because we really start to ignore our thoughts, the thoughts that happen in our head. Now, if you've watched my show before, you would hear that another term I use for the inner critic is the itty bitty shitty committee. Okay, it's just this little voice in your head that tells you all the things that are wrong about yourself, that, you know, you're not doing good enough, all those things. It's just this little voice in your head that's just trying to dig in there. And this voice, the fact that this voice is there, is what is getting us into that feeling of absolute crap, right? But when we are in this feeling, we have those thoughts, but what we tend to do is push them aside, okay? Because let's face it, no one enjoys having those thoughts. We don't want to have them, so we just try and ignore them. The other thing that we do too is often when we are in that stage of stress or anxiousness, it doesn't have to be anxiety, it doesn't have to be diagnosed depression, but in that feeling of stress, anxiety, and the feeling of depression, we can also get physical symptoms. And what happens is that we tend to ignore not only the thoughts, but we ignore the physical symptoms as well. Or sometimes we may not even realize that the physical symptoms that we're having have anything to do with our mental state. And I've spoken about this quite a few times before, as how there definitely is a correlation between both, but I'm not going to go deep into that today. And, you know, and we pretend, we can even pretend that, you know, the feelings or the problems that we have around those feelings, the reason that we're feeling like we are now, we can pretend that they don't exist. Okay, so we kind of retreat into ourselves, we retreat into our own spaces. You know, we hibernate. We don't want it. You know, it's like putting your head under the covers or the pillow. You know, when you're lying in bed, it's like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. You know, I think we've all been guilty of that. No, I have. You know, we can even do things like, you know, we even find ourselves doing things like ignoring phone calls from maybe either people who are trying to help us. You know, they might have an intuition about that something's happening with us. They might have this intuitive feeling, I need to reach out to you today. We ignore their phone calls. Or it might be the fact that, you know, you're stressed because you have a lot of bills to pay and you're ignoring phone calls because you know that your debtors are going to ring, you know, stuff like that. Okay. Now, can I tell you that this stuff, and this is why I have such a passion and I'm coming on to speak about this today, this stuff has happened to me a lot, and absolutely it still does, right? These are the things that I'm aware that I go through now when I get stressed, you know. And a lot of people, you know, will it's really interesting actually. I come on and I do these lives on Instagram and Facebook, and people say to me, "Oh, Ali, you know, you're just so confident. You seem like you've got it all together." Well, can I tell you that I'm human, and you know, I don't always have it together, which is another reason why I have a passion in coming on and speaking about this type of stuff, because I don't have it all together. But what I do love to do is learn how I can help others when I go through it myself. Okay. And often too, when we are in this real place of just feeling what, we feel like a fake. And we've all heard the phrase, right? Fake it until you make it. We've all heard that phrase. And sometimes when we're feeling really down in the dumps, you know, we can find ourselves, people will come up to us and they'll say, "How are you going?" And instead of being honest with them, we feel like we have to go, "I'm okay." And often when we do that, it's not very convincing anyway. let's be honest, you know. But the reality is that we're really feeling crap. And I used to do this a lot. And if you've kind of heard of my story before, when I was in my first marriage, this was an abusive marriage, and there was a time towards the end in particular where I was just a right ass mess. Okay, I was in this stage, I was actually a lot worse than just feeling like crap all the time. I was very, very depressed, even suicidal. However, what I would do is, this is what I mean when I say the phrase "fake it until you make it." When people would come up to me and they would say, "How you going, Ali?" I would go, "Oh, good, yep, great, thanks," you know. And I would try to portray myself as a really happy, the outgoing, happy, bubbly person that people knew me to be. But in reality, what was happening was the worse. It was kind of like the happier I was presenting myself on the outside, right? The happier I was pretending to be, the worse I was inside. And I was absolutely being crushed inside, as you can imagine. So this was, and I would go home after talking to these people, and this is where I would absolutely start to feel like a fake, because I'm just going, "Oh my God, you know, why am I presenting myself that way?" And for me, I think, you know, and I think this happens with a lot of us too, is that we feel ashamed because of whatever situation we're in, you know, we feel ashamed, whatever the situation around the reason you're feeling really bad is. And that also means that when we have that feeling of shame, we don't ask for help when we need it. You know, like I said, we can ignore people's help when they offer it to us, and we can hide under a rock, we can hibernate, you know, and that sense of shame makes us not ask for help. So and then ironically, and I've done this too, and ironically here, you know, we get to a stage of when we feel angry because we don't get the help that we need or the help that we want. Okay, and I've done this too, and that goes back to the feeling of feeling fake. So it's a bit of a vicious cycle, isn't it? You know, whatever the circumstance is, we start to feel bad around it. We have all the physical symptoms, the mental symptoms, and then we pretend that we're okay, and then we get angry when we don't ask for help, but we really desperately want the help, and then it goes back to feeling worse again. So it's a bit of a vicious cycle, right? But can I tell you, it is possible to bring yourself out of feeling that way. No one needs to continue to feel that way. And this is going to sound a bit contradictory, but the first thing that we need to do when we feel really bad is give yourself permission to feel that way to a point. And I'm going to clarify that in a minute. So give yourself permission to feel shitty, give yourself permission to feel down, right? Allow you to feel what you need to feel without judgment. And sometimes I recognize that can be hard too, right? Because there's obviously a reason that you're feeling this way. And I've actually had, I was having a beautiful discussion with a lady the other day who said to me, I was talking about this topic and what I was going to talk on today. And she said, yeah, it seems to me like a lot of people are feeling this way at the moment. And we were saying that it's something is happening in the air. Something, it might have been because of the full moon. There are lots of reasons why we can feel really down like this. But a lot of it is around, and more often than not, the circumstances that are happening in our lives. So try not to judge yourself with those circumstances that are happening in your life, because there is a reason that you are feeling this way, right? And your body and your mind, they're telling you the reason that you're having these physical symptoms and these thoughts is because they're telling you that you need to release them. All right, so give yourself permission to feel the feelings. All right, so let it, if you feel like you need to have a deep down, balls out, ugly cry, just do it. All right, just do it. It's uncomfortable when you do it. I would say don't force it. When I say this, I don't mean just go into a room and kind of sit there and force yourself to cry. Your body will tell you when you need to cry. So if you get to the point where you feel like you just need to have that deep, balls out, ugly cry, just do it, okay? And if you want to scream into a pillow, maybe into a pillow so you don't scare the kids, scream, if you want to, and I've done this many a time, if you want to get down on your knees and start just hitting the floor out of frustration because of the way you feel, do that. Do whatever you need to do to feel those feelings, okay? However, there is a warning here, right? Yes, I said allow yourself to feel them, absolutely, that 100%. But know when it's time to let them go, okay? So don't hang on to the feelings. And sometimes we can have a tendency to do that, is we can hang on to them. And I talk a lot about this. I talk very deep into this subject in my online course, The Phoenix Method, is how to release these emotions. We go very deep into it. But some ways that you can do, there's some things that you can do to help yourself release these emotions is, yes, you can cry, you can scream, you can, hit the floor, whatever you need to do. But something positive that you can do is to get yourself moving, get your body moving, get out there, do some exercise. Go for a fast walk if you're not a jogger. Go for a jog, go for a walk, do some exercise around the house. If you're like me, something I love to do is put the music on really loud, sing up a storm, and have a really good / bad mum dance around the house. That's something that I love to do. That always, when I'm feeling really low, that always gets me going again. But somehow, I would encourage you to somehow get your body moving. Something you can do, and this is really interesting, right? And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later too, is you can even, if you are not used to moving, something you can do is do the housework. Now, you might be saying, housework doesn't make me happy. But when we are in this state too, and something my beautiful late mum used to say very often is state of room, state of mind. She used to say that all the time. And I see this happen in my space when I get into this headspace as well. I know that when my house, my surroundings, when I'm letting it go, it's quite often, more often than not, the fact that I'm having some negative thoughts, or something's happening with me for me to be letting that housework go. So, if I'm feeling in that really crappy headspace, I know that I'm going to let my house go. So something that you can do is choose to do your housework, right? By this, you are doing two things in one. You are getting your body moving, and you are state of room, state of mind. You're fixing up your state of room so you can help your state of mind. Make sense? So when I say to people, do the housework, they're like, what? It's a good idea. There's a reason behind it. But you can also just do, yes, get your body moving, but you can also do something that helps make you happy, right? So you can watch a funny movie on Netflix, watch a sitcom, whatever. Watch something that makes you laugh, just do something that you like doing. If you like doing craft, an adult coloring in book, do that. If that makes you happy, absolutely do it. I'm going to say here something that if you want to do something really fun for the month of May, come over to my incredible Facebook group, Women Rising Above. This is a great way to do some stuff for the whole of May if you want. It is our first birthday party. And the link is going up in the comments very shortly, where you'll be able to go over and join this. But we're having a month-long birthday party where you can come and win prizes, enter competitions. We're having giveaways. We've got a personal meetup in Adelaide, South Australia. So this is something fun. If you want something to do, come and join Women Rising Above. It's a great way. So the link will be, I'm sure, going up in the description in a minute. My beautiful assistant, Alexis, will be doing that. There it is. Good. Thanks, Alexis. So as well as doing something fun, something else that you can do is, now we've all heard of to-do lists, right? And I'm going to get to that in a minute, but something you can do before you get to that is a done list. And this is really effective. This was going to help you take away some of that overwhelm around whatever's happening with you. Okay, so it might be that you're worried about, you've got some bills to pay. So you're thinking about what bills, what have you already managed to pay? What have you achieved already? And rather than concentrating on the things that you need to do, okay, like I said, this is what might be, the reason you might be feeling crappy in the first place. Look at what you have already achieved. So for me, as a single mum, now this is a big one too. So as a single mum, my kids are in their mid-20s now, so they're adults. But when they were younger and I was first a single mum, I used to stress. It used to stress me out. It was a constant stress, mental and physically, that I didn't know how I was going to afford to feed my children. I was on Centrelink benefits, and I was working as well part-time to try and make ends meet, and I didn't know how I was going to feed them, let alone keep them in a private school. So you can imagine the stress that went with that constantly. But here's what I chose to do. Is at the end of every fortnight, before the next Centrelink payment came in, is I would do a done list, or I would choose to look back over the last fortnight and look at what I had achieved. So were my kids had they been fed? Yes. Did they still have a roof over their head? Yes. Are they still in school? Yes. What else have I managed to do? Oh my God, I managed to do that and that and that with them. That's amazing. And this would kind of take away that overwhelm of the stress of the fortnight that was about to come, right? Because I would choose to see the good in what I'd already achieved. And I know that's something big, right? But you can bring it down smaller if you like. So that's a fortnightly thing, but you can bring this down to day if you like. So you could, if you wake up one morning and you just feel, or you're waking up every morning, you're just going, ugh, I don't want to get on with my day, right? If you've woken up feeling like that this Monday morning, I want you to look over what you achieved yesterday. What have you done that is good? And if you need to do it over the last week, then do it. What have you done? What have you achieved? And that is going to help with the overwhelm of what you still need to do. okay? So when you've done that done list, and it will put you in a better headspace, it absolutely will. Then what I want you to do is, yes, it's time to do a to-do list. Now, when I say a to-do list, doesn't need to be a huge list. It doesn't need to be a dozen things. You can do something as small as 2 things on this list, right? It can be 1 thing. It doesn't matter. There's no rules around it. But just so long, as you are going to be able to accomplish something, even if it's really tiny. So when I was coming out of a very stressful situation a few years ago, I had lost my career because of workplace bullying, sexual harassment, and this was a big place where I was feeling really shitty about myself. There was plenty of times when I was just lying there and I did not have the physical capacity, barely had the physical capacity to get up. So to bring myself out of that situation, I would do myself a to-do list. My to-do list was literally as simple as doing the dishes and making the bed. That was it. If I managed to achieve those things in a day, then I was happy. and I can tell you, I was happy. I used to have this sense of euphoria when I would manage to do something, because at that moment, making the bed was a big thing. Doing the dishes was huge, because I didn't think I had the mental capacity to do it when I actually did. And then as I went along and as my mental state started to improve, I would add things to my to-do list, and they wouldn't be difficult things. They would, and this is what I'm saying when I'm talking about the housework and getting yourself into a better headspace. I was doing things like, what was my next thing? I'd do the washing, wash the clothes, right? Or I'd weed the garden, or something like that. There weren't things that were rocket science, but I would certainly do things that I knew I'd be able to achieve, and I'd tick them off my to-do list. And then what that was doing was creating my done list for the next day. Makes sense? So again, it's a cycle, but this is a good cycle. So this is how we keep going when we're in that headspace of just feeling okay, because we want to, and it really helps you come out of that feeling. And lastly, but certainly not least, is that we need to reach out for help. Tell someone how we're feeling, okay? Even though, yes, you're having those feelings of shame, something I mentioned before, and I have a lot of people like this in my life, God love them, who intuitively know when to reach out to me and say, are you okay? And, and I do that to other people as well. But quite often, when we're ignoring those phone calls, or when we're hibernating because of the way we're feeling, we don't feel comfortable enough to ask for help. But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that every single person on this planet has gone through the feeling similar to what you're going through now. Might not be exactly the same, okay, but everyone's gone through that feeling of feeling like shit. So tell someone, reach out for help. No one, absolutely no one deserves to go through this feeling alone. And this is something that I am so damn passionate about. A lot of people will come to me, and I work with a lot of ladies who say to me, I've just felt so alone until we have worked together. And it's because they have been in that space where they've been too ashamed to reach out. So don't be ashamed. No one needs to feel ashamed, because we all go through it at some stage in our life. And so I would love to say today that I'm here. If you want to come and speak to me, speak to me. I have 30-minute free coaching sessions. They're confidence booster coaching sessions that you are welcome to book into. That link, beautiful Alexis is going to put into the chat in a second. And I would love to have the opportunity to talk with you about what is happening with you right now, why you are in that space where you are just feeling like bleh at the moment, and talk to you about how you can, you know, bring yourself, how you can come out of that space. It is because of the stuff that I have gone through, this is my absolute passion in life. This is why I come live and I do these shows, and you know, this is why I run a Facebook group. This is why I do what I do as a women's transformation coach. So, beautiful ladies, I would love, you know, if you are feeling a bit at the moment, come on, book in for that free 30-minute confidence booster session. I'd love to have a chat with you. It would be wonderful to get to know you as well. And if you haven't already, come on over into Women Rising Above and join our first birthday party. It's a very, very exciting month in May. All right, my lovely ladies, thank you so much for watching today. And, you know, if you have been in a headspace where you're just feeling like shit, I hope this has made you feel a little bit better today. I hope this has just provided you with some love and encouragement this morning. All right, everybody, I will see you next week. Bye.